History. A vast tapestry woven with threads of triumph and tragedy. But what if entire sections of that tapestry were intentionally obscured? What if the most crucial knots, the ones that truly altered its pattern, were deliberately cut away? We are told the grand narratives, the celebrated victories, the famous defeats. But beneath the surface, in the quiet whispers of forgotten archives and unexamined landscapes, lie the stories they didn't want you to find. Battles. Decisive clashes. Moments that splintered the timeline. And one such conflict, a ghost in the annals, holds the key to a world that could have been drastically different. Today, we journey to a place whispered only in obscure legends, the Obsidian Peaks. Here, centuries ago, a battle unfolded. Not one that garners pages in textbooks or statues in city squares. No. This was a battle silenced. A victory buried. A defeat swept under the rug of imperial propaganda. Why? What power did this remote, brutal engagement hold that necessitated its systematic removal from collective memory? The very act of forgetting, of scrubbing it clean, hints at a truth too inconvenient, too unsettling, to be allowed to stand. To understand the silence, we must first understand the shadow that cast it. The Athelian hegemony. An empire so vast, so dominant, its borders stretched across continents. Its legions, disciplined and ruthless, had never known true defeat. They crushed kingdoms, absorbed cultures, and dictated the very flow of history. Their gaze, insatiable, turned towards the untamed, mineral-rich lands beyond their eastern frontiers. Lands they deemed ripe for conquest. Their might was unquestioned. Their destiny, seemingly, inevitable. Or so they believed. This expansion brought them to the Obsidian Peaks. A forbidding, volcanic mountain range, its jagged peaks piercing the sky like the teeth of some ancient beast. Its valleys, choked with black rock and sparse vegetation, were home to scattered nomadic clans. For the Athelians, these peaks were more than just a geographic barrier, they were a gateway. A strategic choke point leading to fertile plains and, more importantly, vast deposits of a rare, crucial mineral, vital for their advanced weaponry. A prize too valuable to ignore. But also, a fortress nature itself had forged. Against the colossal might of the Athelian hegemony stood the nomadic clans of the Shadowlands. Not a unified army, but a collection of tribes, fiercely independent, bound by ancient customs and an unbreakable connection to their rugged homeland. They were considered primitive, unorganized. Barbarians. Easy prey for the imperial war machine. Yet, what the Athelians failed to comprehend was the depth of their resolve. Their intimate knowledge of the treacherous terrain. And a desperation born from the threat of annihilation. Their survival depended on an impossible stand. The Athelian advance was swift, confident. Their generals, accustomed to easy victories, dismissed the clans as a minor obstacle. Intelligence reports, downplaying the strength and unity of the local resistance, painted a picture of inevitable conquest. They marched into the Obsidian Peaks with an arrogance born of unchallenged power. They saw only rock and scattered tribes. They failed to see the trap. The ancient, silent guardian of the mountains themselves. A fatal miscalculation that would soon echo through the very foundations of their empire. The initial clashes were brutal. The sheer numbers of the Athelian legions were overwhelming. Steel met flint, discipline met ferocity. Yet, something was different. The nomadic warriors, seemingly disorganized, moved with an uncanny coordination in the tortuous terrain. Their strikes were precise, their retreats baffling. They did not engage in pitched battles the Athelians expected, but instead, struck from hidden crevices, vanished into the mist, and reappeared where least expected. The mountains, it seemed, breathed with them. And fought with them. As the Athelians pushed deeper, their supply lines stretched thin. Ambushes became more frequent. The harsh climate, the unfamiliar terrain, began to take a heavier toll than any warrior. Starvation. Disease. Morale began to erode. The nomadic clans, meanwhile, seemed to draw strength from the very stones, their resilience unwavering. The imperial generals, baffled, ordered more aggressive pushes, only to find their formations broken, their cavalry useless, in the labyrinthine canyons. Arrogance, once a strength, was becoming a crippling vulnerability. A critical, often overlooked factor was the very material that gave the peaks their name, obsidian. The clans had mastered its use. Not just for sharp arrowheads or knives, but for cunning traps, for camouflage defenses, for shaping the very battlefield. Their knowledge of the volcanic rock, its strengths and weaknesses, allowed them to turn the mountains into an impenetrable fortress. Every crevice a potential ambush. Every rockfall a weapon. The Athelian siege engines, designed for walls of brick and mortar, were useless against nature's raw power. Beyond strategy and terrain, there was something else driving the nomadic clans. An ancient prophecy, passed down through generations, spoke of a time of great darkness, when the stone guardians of the peaks would rise to defend their people. For them, this was not merely a territorial dispute, it was a cosmic struggle. A shaman, known only as the Seer of Cinder, rallied the disparate tribes, interpreting the signs, reinforcing their faith. This spiritual conviction forged an unbreakable bond, giving them courage in the face of overwhelming odds. A belief that history was on their side, even if it wouldn't record their triumph. Days bled into weeks. The Athelian forces, once invincible, were being bled dry. Their numbers dwindled, not from glorious combat, but from attrition, disease, and the insidious drain of a war they couldn't grasp. The imperial generals, pride battered, sent urgent messages for reinforcements. Messages that arrived too late, or were intercepted by cunning nomadic scouts. A glimmer of hope, faint but growing, began to ignite among the defenders. They were holding against the hegemony. An unthinkable possibility was becoming a stark, terrifying reality for their invaders. It culminated in a desperate gambit. The Athelians, seeking a breakthrough, committed their remaining strength to a narrow, treacherous pass. The Serpent's Coil. The nomadic clans, forewarned or divinely guided, were waiting. This was their final stand. Not a siege, but an ambush on a scale unseen. Boulders rained down, obsidian-tipped arrows pierced armor, and warriors, screaming defiance, charged from every hidden crevice. It was chaos. Carnage. The Athelian legions, caught between a rock and a hard place, literally shattered. Their formations broke. Panic ensued. The defeat was absolute. Not a strategic withdrawal, but a full-blown rout. The finest legions of the Athelian hegemony, broken and demoralized, fled the Obsidian Peaks. The survivors, few and scattered, carried tales of monstrous warriors, of mountains that fought back, of a defeat so profound it defied imperial logic. This was more than a lost battle, it was a profound blow to the hegemony's prestige, its myth of invincibility shattered in the unforgiving embrace of the mountains. A scar on their imperial pride they could not, and would not, forget. For the nomadic clans, victory came at a terrible cost. Their numbers were decimated, their lands scarred, their future uncertain. But they had achieved the impossible. They had repelled the hegemony. From the ashes of this brutal conflict, a new unity was forged. The disparate tribes, having fought side by side, began to see themselves as one people. One nation. The Battle of the Obsidian Peaks, though devastating, planted the seeds of something grander. A new power, born of resistance, ready to carve its own destiny from the very stones that secured their freedom. The Athelian hegemony reacted swiftly. Not with another invasion, but with a deliberate, chilling act of historical revisionism. The Battle of the Obsidian Peaks? It simply didn't happen. Imperial records were purged. Scribes were ordered to omit any mention. Generals responsible were executed or disappeared. The official narrative spun a tale of pacification and strategic withdrawal. The reason? To admit defeat at the hands of barbarians in a remote, insignificant mountain range would undermine the very legitimacy of their rule and inspire other conquered peoples. Better to forget, to erase, to rewrite reality itself. But history, like water, always finds a way. Had the Athelians triumphed at the Obsidian Peaks, their expansion into the mineral-rich East would have been unchecked. They would have controlled resources that would later fuel centuries of innovation, trade, and military dominance. Their empire might have become truly global, stifling the rise of other powers. The world map, the very languages spoken, the cultures that flourished, all would be profoundly different. This forgotten battle, therefore, was not just a regional skirmish. It was a fulcrum. A moment that subtly, but irrevocably, pivoted the course of human civilization. What became of the nomadic clans? For centuries, their nascent nation grew in the protective shadow of the Obsidian Peaks, consolidating power, developing unique technologies from the very mineral they defended. Over time, these once disparate tribes evolved into the precursors of the Great Eastern Confederacy, a formidable power that would eventually challenge the Athelian hegemony on equal terms, leading to its eventual decline. The seed of a future empire, ironically, was sown in the very defeat that the dominant power sought to erase. A testament to history's stubborn refusal to stay buried. The Battle of the Obsidian Peaks. A name scarcely known, yet its reverberations shaped continents. Its invisible hand guided the flow of trade, influenced the spread of religions, and allowed diverse cultures to blossom where a monolithic empire might have paved them over. Modern historians, piecing together fragments from obscure oral traditions and archaeological digs far from imperial heartlands, are only now beginning to uncover the true scope of its impact. This silent victory, this forgotten stand, reminds us that the grand narratives are often incomplete. And that the most profound changes can stem from the most unexpected, and deliberately suppressed, moments. The Obsidian Peaks stand today, a silent witness to a battle history tried to forget. Their dark, forbidding slopes hold secrets still untold. What other hidden truths lie buried beneath the sands of time? What other crucial events, dismissed as minor skirmishes or simply erased, have silently charted the course of our existence? The questions linger. The puzzle remains incomplete. But the very act of seeking, of questioning the official narratives, opens our eyes to a richer, more complex, and infinitely more intriguing past. The story of the Battle of the Obsidian Peaks is a powerful reminder that history is not static. It is a living, breathing entity, constantly being re-evaluated, constantly revealing new facets. On BattleMyst, we are dedicated to peeling back the layers of time, to shining a light on these forgotten conflicts, these unsung heroes, and the shocking secrets that truly shaped our world. Join us next time as we delve deeper into the hidden corners of the past. What other forgotten battles await discovery? Subscribe and never miss an untold story.